A chilly November afternoon in Chicago. It was a brisk November afternoon in Chicago, and the city hummed with its usual rhythm. Donald Trump, dressed in a long navy coat and his signature red tie, walked down Michigan Avenue. He had just concluded a meeting but chose to walk back to his hotel, taking in the city's vibrant energy. As he approached Millennium Park, something on the sidewalk caught his eye. A woman sat hunched against a building, her clothes worn and frayed, clutching a cardboard sign that read, "Veteran in need, please help." Her hands trembled in the chilly air, and her weary gaze seemed to carry the weight of countless untold stories. Trump stopped, his focus narrowing on her as the bustling crowd flowed around him. A chance encounter, ignoring the curious glances of passers-by, Trump approached her. "Ma'am," he began, his voice gentle but firm. "What's your name?" Startled, the woman looked up, not expecting anyone, let alone someone like Donald Trump, to speak to her. "It's Teresa," she replied hesitantly. "Teresa Hensley." "And you're a veteran?" he asked, crouching down to her level. "Yes, sir," she whispered, her voice barely audible. "I served in the Army for 12 years, got injured overseas, and, well, life's been hard since then." Trump nodded, absorbing her words. "Why are you out here? Don't you have a place to stay?" Teresa shook her head. "Lost my apartment months ago. Couldn't keep up with the rent. Been trying to get back on my feet. But it's tough, an act of compassion." Her story struck a chord. Here was someone who had given so much to serve her country, now left to fend for herself on the streets. Trump couldn't just walk away. He pulled out his phone and said firmly, "Stay right here, Teresa. We're going to fix this." He stepped aside and made a quick call. On the other end, his assistant Margaret picked up. "Margaret, I need you to find a nearby hotel with availability and arrange for a doctor. This is urgent." When he returned, he reassured Teresa, "Help is on the way. But first, let's get you something warm to eat." He flagged down a food vendor and bought her a steaming bowl of soup and a sandwich. As she ate, her hands still trembling. From the cold, she shared snippets of her life, her time in the Army, the friends she had lost, and the challenges she faced transitioning back to civilian life. A glimmer of hope. Minutes later, a sleek black SUV pulled up to the curb. A driver stepped out and opened the door. "This is for you," Trump said, gently helping Teresa to her feet. "We're taking you somewhere safe." "Why are you doing this?" Teresa asked, her voice tinged with disbelief. Trump met her gaze and replied, "Because someone should have done it a long time ago." The SUV whisked them to a nearby luxury hotel, where the staff, prepped by Margaret, welcomed Teresa like an honored guest. She was shown to a warm suite, complete with fresh clothes and a hot shower. A doctor arrived shortly after to assess her health, offering immediate care and advice for her recovery. A new beginning. While Teresa settled in, Trump contacted Veterans United Support Services, an organization dedicated to helping homeless veterans. Within the hour, a representative arrived with plans for housing, job training, and other support. Lisa, the representative, sat beside Teresa and said warmly, "You're not alone anymore. We'll help you get back on your feet." Overwhelmed, Teresa turned to Trump. "I don't know how to thank you," she said, tears streaming down her face. "You don't need to thank me," Trump replied with a smile. "You earned this a long time ago." Looking ahead, by the next morning, Teresa had a new plan for her life. Veterans United had arranged temporary housing, and Trump's foundation had pledged to cover her rent for the first year. He even handed her a check for immediate expenses. As he prepared to leave, Teresa stopped him. "Mr. Trump," she said, her voice steady, "you've changed my life in ways I can't describe. Thank you." Trump smiled and said, "Promise me one thing. Pay it forward someday." "I will," Teresa replied with newfound determination. As Trump walked out into the bustling streets of Chicago, he felt a quiet sense of fulfillment. One life had been transformed, and for Teresa Hensley, the future now glimmered with hope. Let me know if you'd like further refinements.